Hey guys, we're back and we've got to talk more Cowboys. Shocking. Jerry Jones had a little bit of a crash out this week with 105.3 The Fan with Shannon RJ, which is his regular radio appearance. And he basically threatened to fire them or replace them because he didn't like the line of questioning, which included asking him why there weren't more moves made in the offseason. There was quite a bit of a reaction to this. And then he doubled down on it and said he doesn't want to be grilled by the tribunal. I'm sorry, if I'm going to be grilled by the tribunal, I don't need it to be by the guys I'm paying. I can take it from fans and take it from other people. I take a lot of pride in how fair and how much I try to work with the media. We're brothers and sisters. But I was a little frustrated there today. I can't think of a more reasonable question to be asked than why didn't the Cowboys make more moves this offseason? It's not like they asked him some scandalous question about his personal life that's way out of bounds and inappropriate. That would warrant a crash out. Them asking Jerry Jones why there weren't more moves made in the offseason is such a baseline question for the current situation of the Dallas Cowboys. But here's the real situation. Here's the real answer. Jerry, you don't have to do media. You don't have to do media. You're the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. You're a billionaire. You don't have media obligations. Players have media obligations. Coaches have media obligations. You do not have those. You don't have to go on this show every single week. You choose to do that. You don't have to go and do the media scrum after every game. You choose to do that because other owners don't do that. What's happening with the Dallas Cowboys is the result of unrealistic expectations, which we have for the Cowboys every single year. We don't do this with other teams. We don't come into the season with every single team saying this team should be competing for a Super Bowl. And if they're not, it is a colossal failure. And at 3-3 at the bye, we will be having meltdowns. We don't do that because we look at the team, we look at the roster, we look at the coaching changes, we look at the situations that they dealt with last year, what has been addressed in the roster. We look at all of those things, and then we say, I could see this team maybe making the playoffs. I could see this team maybe making a run. I could see this team having some success during the regular season. Or I could see this team, going 500 and that being a success because of where they are as an organization. Only with the Dallas Cowboys do we go so far out of bounds with the expectations every single year. The Dallas Cowboys have not made an NFC Championship game in almost 30 years. That's why this is happening. Because every year Jerry sees the little, the little crack in the wall, a little crack in the America's team and the biggest brand in all of sports. He sees it. He sees the numbers going down at the attendance for training camp. It's like the brand is slipping because America's team was based off of a dynasty, and they're so far removed from that. We've had multiple dynasties since then. We are in the midst of the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, which is entertaining and fun and likable, and Andy Reid and Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the league. People are starting to hate them because they're good, but not because they're not entertaining or fun. And then you got the Dallas Cowboys not being able to get past the divisional round in almost 30 years. That's what's happening here. It's the slow drip. It's the final straw on the camel's back, and it's being asked, why weren't more moves made in the offseason? Jerry, you don't have to do radio interviews. He doesn't. He does not have to do that. He chooses to do that. And I'm just curious, what questions would you like to be asked if you're going to threaten to fire someone for those questions? What questions would be appropriate? What questions would be appropriate? Everyone's flipping out because you just lost terribly to the Detroit Lions at home on your birthday. We get it. But if we were honest about where the Dallas Cowboys truly are, then there would be no reason for everyone to be flipping out. It was a bad loss for sure. Bad loss. But they're 3-3. You're in a bye week. What is this about? You're being grilled by the tribunal? Hardly. Hardly being grilled. Jerry did a great job last year. They had 9 All-Pros. Dak had the best year of his career. They won 12 games. They had home field advantage. They won like 16 games in a row at home. Jerry did his job. This year, I think it's reasonable to question why Derrick Henry is not in the building, why you didn't bolster up the wide receiver core, why didn't we make more moves to get a run stopper, seeing as that's been a problem. Those are all super fair inbound questions. But the bigger question is, if you're going to threaten to fire radio host as a billionaire, why are you doing the interview? Just don't do media. Now, listen, this is never going to happen because part of the Dallas Cowboys brand is Jerry and us talking about the Cowboys. And that's why they're the biggest brands in all of sports all over the world. But I've been saying this for years. It's more about the brands than it is about winning because nothing is everything, but everything is something. And this type of stuff happens because Jerry goes on these interviews because he does all this extra stuff, which keeps the brand in conversation, which keeps us talking about the team. But the moves on the field were not made this year. And it is a completely fair question to ask. It is not being grilled by the tribunal. Just don't do the interviews. You don't have media obligations. It's never going to happen. But I think it's wild and appropriate for a billionaire to be threatening radio hosts on a show that you willingly go on. I really would just like to know what question Jerry wanted to be asked, honestly. So Davante Adams was traded this week to the New York Jets as he requested. He wanted to go to the Saints with Derek Carr or the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers. He is now a New York Jet. They will play the Steelers this weekend. They are 2-4, coming off a pretty hideous loss to the Buffalo Bills. Here's the thing. I love Davante. I think he is a great player. I think he is going to do really well with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers will be better because Davante's there. But the New York Jets have a lot more to fix than just Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams coming together. They just fired their head coach. They just demoted their offensive coordinator. Is Davante Adams kicking field goals? Because the kicker missed multiple field goals. My question is, why do we assume that because Davante Adams is there, that all of a sudden this is a championship team? The Jets are a reality show. They haven't been to the postseason since 2010. There is so much culturally and internally that is wrong with the New York Jets. But we love it because it's interesting and exciting and it's scandal and drama. And I love it. It's anarchy. It's great for me. It's great for us, right? It's great for us to discuss. It's interesting. It's fun. How far will they go? Will Davante turn things around? And then the teams that we're not talking about are like the Kansas City Chiefs. Because winning and excellence can be boring. Consistency can be boring. And I'm not saying that the Kansas City Chiefs as an organization are boring. They're not. They're actually very fun and exciting, and they have great personalities and lots of stuff going on. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. It's the team and the organizations that win consistently that we just kind of put in a corner. And in a lot of ways, they've earned that because they win consistently. But the New York Jets are not that. The New York Jets are chaos. And the Davante Adams trade, while I do think it is significant, I think, for example, the Amari move is much more influential within the same division. But we're going to talk about Davante, and we're going to talk about the New York Jets, and we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to talk about the expectations of them to go to the Super Bowl, and are they an AFC championship? They're 2-4. They just lost in the division to the Buffalo Bills for us all to watch. Flags everywhere. A flag parade. They're chaos, they're anarchy, they're drama, they're fun, they're interesting. I love it. But this is not a winning organization. And Davante Adams, as great as he is, cannot be held responsible for Aaron Rodgers not being at the level that he was when he was in Green Bay the year before his last year, his MVP year. And he can't be held responsible for creating an entire culture for this organization, which they just don't have. So I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. I don't know how much it moves the needle as far as them going through the postseason. I'm glad Davante got the move that he wanted. I'm excited to see Davante with a great quarterback again, good quarterback again. But the Jets have a whole lot more problems to solve than making Aaron Rodgers happy. Again, do you really feel like they get to the postseason, having an interim coach is going to push them through to when they're going up against teams that have been there year after year after year, the Ravens, the Chiefs, they're just going to waltz into the postseason and go toe to toe with those coaches and that kind of preparation? I think it takes more than that, but we'll see. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be dramatic. All right. Finally, Joel Embiid says that he may never play in back-to-backs ever again. I do not love that he said this. I think Joel Embiid is a great player. I enjoy watching him play. I think he wants to win a championship. I think he wants to be healthy in the postseason. I get it. But here's the problem. The NBA is constantly fighting this stigma of players not caring about the regular season, players load managing. It's a huge problem for partners, for media partners, for media, for fans, for coaches. Like it is this new wave of load management that has really swept the league. And this type of stuff is what validates it for a lot of people, for critics of the league, that, oh, this player who has a $192 million 3-year deal that kicks in 2026, he's being paid hundreds of millions of dollars, just is not going to play in back-to-backs. And we get it. It's because you want your best players available for the postseason. Fine. But the regular season has to matter also. And not just from the winning perspective. Fans want to see the best players play. They pay money to go watch the best players play. Now, you could say, okay, well, now you don't need to book any back-to-back games because you know Joel Embiid is not going to play. But is Joel Embiid going to miss other games as well? Historically, probably, likely. And here's the other issue. You say you're not going to play in back-to-backs ever again. Obviously, that's to be healthy at the end of the season. Well, now you must win in the postseason. You must be in the Eastern Conference Finals. You must be in the NBA Finals. Otherwise, what was all of this for? What's it for? The NBA has been playing an 82-game schedule for almost 60 years. This is not new. So what I don't like about this is it validates so many of the critics saying, like, the game is softer now and guys don't take it as seriously and they're making all this money so they don't prioritize the fans or the regular season, which I, for the most part, very much disagree with. But when you come out and say you're not going to play in back-to-backs, or you may never play in back-to-backs ever again, well, yeah, you're absolutely participating in load management. You're saying I am absolutely preparing to load manage. Not even like I might like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. Or, I'm not really load managing. I'm actually hurt. No. You're saying you're not going to play in back-to-backs. This is for the postseason, which now you must be successful in. And this is why the NBA has had to work so hard to get rid of this stigma around the regular season. It's what the play-in tournament is about. It's what these milestones for awards have been put in place for, is stuff like this. So I really just don't love that he said it. Even if this is something that you're going to do, let us guess about it. Let us get to the bottom of this on our own. To come out and say it as one of the top players in the league, making hundreds of millions of dollars, fans don't want to hear this. And particularly if you don't end up having success in the postseason, this is going to be a very haunting quote. So I don't love that it was said. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you subscribe and comment and like and share. I'm going to get to some of your comments as well throughout the week, go through and pick my favorites and respond to them. So make sure you get into the comment section as well and follow me at Joy Taylor Talks. Talk soon.